What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name After Sound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's talk about SPS because as it continues to climb, 1.32 cents as of the morning of April 17th that I'm recording this, we are now at a market cap of 37.8 million. And we have some new data, or like a rebranded dashboard here on Splinter cards when it comes to our SPS data. Now, they took away some things. I was hoping that they would just fix them, but it looks like they completely removed them, and they added some other stuff, which I think is interesting. And I don't have necessarily any like major analysis or insights, but I think we can kind of just go through the data, see what's available, and hopefully the stuff that they took out will be fixed and added back in, and new stuff will be added in over time, especially now that validators are live. So you can see here, let's go from left to right. So on the distribution section, we have 2.8 million in supply, 2.8 billion in supply. If you go to the bottom here, 134 million have been burned. So we did burn about 200,000 because I think the last that I checked, this was like 133.8 million. So we have seen a little SPS get burned. But what I wanted them to fix is how much SPS is getting burned over like the last 60 days, right? There was a graph that used to show how much was getting burned each day, and then it got broken, and so that's what was removed. You can see how much is staked, so about 980 million of that, and then 1.495 billion that is currently circulating. Now, this is brand new. The second tab here, or second box here, is off-chain. So you can see outside of the game, outside of the DAO and all that, how much do we have on Hive Engine, right? Which, keep in mind, is a separate layer 2 on the Hive blockchain. Then you have Ethereum and BSC. And I did not realize just how little SPS was actually on Ethereum. Now, that is where I made my most recent purchase, was on the Ethereum blockchain. And the liquidity was already pretty bad. But when you look at this, it's like there's just not much SPS on Ethereum in general. So this is not me saying we should send a bunch more Ethereum or SPS out onto the Ethereum chain. I mean, people can do that, but there's no incentive at this point, simply because the LP rewards. There's nothing that you can do with SPS on Ethereum, and the LP rewards are no longer available. So it's really just whatever the DAO has put out there and what people are holding, like myself, on the Ethereum blockchain. But it's like literally 10% of what's available on like BSC. So it's a huge discrepancy there. Again, what are we going to do with those insights? Not much, but it does create an issue for people coming in or wanting to come in from Ethereum. And therefore, if we want to have a broader conversation of how to get more liquidity out there, again, I'm not saying that we turn the LP rewards back on because that just leads to unnecessary inflation, but we can make this happen somewhat organically by creating the arbitrage opportunities when SPS starts to go up. So as SPS starts to go up in other markets, right, on BSC, on Hive Engine, we will see opportunities for people to go in and arbitrage that on Ethereum. Right now, what would end up happening is that's not really going to bring, at least if I'm understanding this correctly, it wouldn't necessarily bring more SPS out there. But again, I'm just thinking out loud here, and I don't understand the full dynamics of this, to be honest with you. I'd have to think through it, and I didn't do it before this video because I'm just kind of rolling my way through this. But where my head was going was that with the arbitrage, it's kind of the opposite, right, effect of what we'd want, because if SPS starts to go up, for example, on Hive Engine, well, then people are going to go buy cheap SPS on Ethereum and then send that back into the game, right? So we would actually have less Ethereum SPS based on Ethereum, but the price of that SPS would be higher, right? And as long as SPS didn't start going down, we hopefully shouldn't have an issue. So that doesn't necessarily solve the liquidity problem, so I kind of got myself in a loop there. Either way, we need more Ethereum out there, and maybe that's a conversation of we need more SPS on the Ethereum blockchain to add more liquidity, and maybe that's something that the DAO can and should do just to incentivize larger holders, right, larger whales or larger purchases on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, let's move on to the third one here. Now, this is the reserve. So I'm actually not even sure how all this stuff necessarily breaks down. So you got the DAO holding 585 million. Then you have the DAO reserve with 421 million. Now, according to the white paper, I do believe that there was going to be 400 million sent to the DAO as part of the white paper, right? Of the initial 3 billion. So I don't know if where that's included. I'm assuming it would be in the DAO reserve. But keep in mind, we decided to like mint all of the rest of the tokens, and that's kind of where we're sitting at now. So if it's only 421 million in the DAO reserve, and that includes the 400 reserve for the DAO as well as the remaining reward pools, that doesn't seem like quite enough. So again, maybe this is something that I should talk to Clay about, but I'm just thinking through like what these mean and how we as SPS stakeholders can make use of it and how we can allocate. You can also see here the TerraBlock ETH and TerraBlock BSC bridges, 136,000, 160,000. There's not much on there, which is interesting. So, yeah, there's that. All right, and then the reward pools here. This is actually really interesting because we were just talking about this. I didn't realize that the reward pools were the last one. So it looks as though you can see just how much is left for ranked play. So 38.7 million. 146 million left for land. Wow, that is a lot. Now, what we don't have here is the timing, and I would love for that to be included because we know that, like staking, for example, 76 million. I believe that runs out later this year, if I'm not mistaken, or at some point very soon. And then obviously we have others which kind of buckets validator rewards, guild rewards, or guild brawl rewards, tournaments. Man, there's a lot included there, but it's 451 million. So this is all the new data there. Again, I think and I hope that we're going to get more clarity on what each of these things means in the future. But shout out to T-Hawks, shout out to the Splinter Cards team or whoever's putting this together. Besides T-Hawks, if there's more, and I just appreciate the fact that we can get more data here and that they're trying to take the time to remove, as frustrating as it is, but it's the right thing to do. Remove data that is either inaccurate or broken, right? As much as we were having fun with that, and try to replace it with stuff that is still relevant. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.